Super Bowl 59 is finally here. That's right, folks. If you want to make money off the big game, then stay tuned for my 6 favorite bets for the Eagles and Chiefs Super Bowl rematch. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of IDP Plus Bets. What is up, folks? I'm your host, the DGen Doc. And look, last game of the season, we're going to continue to do what we've done all year. That's right, folks. We are giving out 6 bets here today, all at plus money. And we're going to continue to make some money here. We've been on a nice little streak. Last 2 shows for the divisional round, the conference championship games, up a nice 5.15 units. Assuming you put 1 unit on each bet, like I typically recommend, like I've recommended all year. Obviously, hit a couple long shots in there to help us out. So, yeah, nice thing about all these plus money bets is, record does not have to necessarily be positive in that way because the units end up positive with some of these long shots. So, encourage you to continue to do that method, 1 unit on each. Again, I know it's only 1 game, but it's the biggest game of the NFL season. So, obviously, there's a ton of markets for it. So, we're going to get a little bit fun, a little bit weird here. Got 6 bets for this game. Of course, mostly all offense. Might have snuck a defense in there for you just to keep you on your toes. But hey, folks, without further ado, really quick, appreciate everyone who's been listening all season. Thank you. And let's get into it. Let's enjoy this awesome matchup here. I think it's fair to say the 2 best teams in the NFL. Top to bottom, the way that they perform, especially coming into the playoffs with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. A nice rematch from Super Bowl 57, where Kansas City did win 38-35 in that barn burner of a game. Let's talk about this one and how do I think this game's going to go? Well, I think that one man is going to have to step up really big if his team has any shot. And that man is number 1, QB1 for the Philadelphia Eagles. That is Jalen Hurts. I'm actually going to be going with his over 9.5 rush attempts at plus 107 here. Starting us off nice and easy with the plus 107. Look, not including the game where he got knocked out in against the Washington Commanders when he only played a little bit in the first quarter. Jalen Hurts is 9 of his last 17 to this number as far as going over the 9.5 rush attempts, so 10 or more. That knee is finally healthy, right? We saw him pick up that knee injury during the Rams game where he was a bit limited. Last time we saw this man, and then now the NFC Championship conference championship, 10 rushes there. I think that, one of the ways that this Eagles offense can be really dangerous is if you have to contend, when you have to, make sure that you account for Hurts' legs and Saquon Barkley. Obviously, all the intention is going to be on Saquon Barkley, and for good reason for this defense. However, I think the Eagles are going to really stress this Chiefs defense by ensuring that Hurts gets these carries early and often. And one of the ways I really like this is he can kind of get there in multiple ways, right? I mean, we saw the amount of, obviously, anything close distance, they love the tush push. Probably their favorite play, right? So you can get some easy ones there. Any type of kneel downs, like any quarterback at half, at end of the game, if they are able to win the game. Zone read, again, making sure you stress the defense, have to contend with that. And then, Jalen Hurts has really been conservative and not wanting to do any of the risky throws, right? He's been holding on the ball too long. It's led to a couple sacks, but it also leads to him pulling it down and, taking what the defense gives him. He doesn't mind picking up 2, 3, 5 yards instead of taking a negative play. He's not someone who really throws the ball away, but he's kind of been risk averse in the sense of the interception realm. So this has led to him kind of tucking and running a little bit more. So I love Jalen Hurts there, getting started with a nice over 9.5 rush attempts. This next one is it's a system play. It is a guy who I have given out the past 2 weeks ever since the Kansas City Chiefs have been in the playoffs, and there's no reason to stop it now. And that is Mr. Kareem Hunt, anytime touchdown at plus 140. It's been an absolute printing press for us in the playoffs. I love Kareem Hunt, especially in the playoffs. Look, folks, he's the clear RB1 in Kansas City. He has 25 carries in the 2 games compared to Isaiah Pacheco's only 10 carries. Pacheco simply does not look right. Kareem Hunt is running with a lot more juice. I think he's going to be fed early and often. And he's clearly the bigger back. He is their goal line back, the one they trust around the goal line there. Again, look, I do want to mention this because I've played him not only in the anytime, he's scored in 4 straight games, but in the last 2 playoff games, he's also been the first to score in the game. So I do want to give out his first touchdown at plus 900, something to sprinkle there as well. The main play is Hunt anytime touchdown. I think that the Chiefs are going to find the end zone a couple times in this game. And for Hunt, it's too easy for him to get in. He is the RB1 on this team. The price has dropped down a bit. We were getting plus 180, plus 170. They're kind of realizing, but I still don't think this price is correct. An RB1 on, a really good team who I do expect to find the end zone. Kareem Hunt, that's just what he does. He gets in the end zone. He's going to do it again for us this week. 5, make it 5 straight, and 3 for the show there. So Kareem Hunt, anytime touchdown with a nice little sprinkle on the first touchdown at 9-1. We're going to stick in the Kansas City backfield, and we're going to talk about a guy that not many are talking about, and that's Mr. Samaje Perine, a guy who is the clear third down back. He's kind of etched out that role. He is the receiving back. We're going to go 15 plus receiving yards at a nice juicy plus 188. Despite the almost 2-1 price, Samaje Perine has hit this number in 6 out of his last 8 games. Again, he is the clear third down back. And I think that this Eagles defense, for as good as they've been a little bit shaky against opposing running backs. I think this speaks to a little bit of the linebacking core and Zach Bond and Oren Burks. Oren Burks has to step in for Nakobe Dean. I think that's a little bit of a liability. Last two out of the last 3 games, opposing running backs have gone over this 15 receiving yards, as in Austin Eckler and Josh Jacobs against the Packers. Kyron Williams in that snow game with the Rams, they don't really use him out of the backfield much, but they, a team that does like to use running backs out of the backfield, it is Samaje Perine. You're always liable for Andy Reid to get a little cute there. I think they understand that this is a matchup they could potentially exploit. I want to talk about this a little bit in depth for just a second here, and that is highlighting kind of one of the injuries I talked about, Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean tore his patellar tendon. He was out for the year in that Packers game. And Oren Burks is a guy who stepped in. Now, Oren Burks is a player who has played well, but he's still a journeyman. He's been in the league 7 years. He has not had more than 50 tackles in a regular season at all. He's a guy who's having to fill in. And last Super Bowl, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes absolutely targeted him and feasted on him. He had 9 targets towards him, 9 catches allowed for Kelsey, 1 touchdown, and as you see there, an awful coverage grade. So, look, he's again filling in. He has played better this playoffs, but I still think Oren Burks is an absolute liability and someone that the Chiefs are going to target. So I like Perine getting matched up on him. I like the running back, and only 15 yards to get us almost 2-1. I think that is very, very doable for Samaje Perine. All right, folks, that is 3 out of the 6 bets, so we are halfway through. So you know what that means. Time to tell you about some of the great things we got going over here at IDP Plus. First of all, it's our memberships. How could you not get our memberships at this point? We've got site-wide memberships of all different levels, but I will give you a nice 20% off with the promo code PROPS. So you get access to tools, data, IDP articles, and a subscriber Discord only for our members there. So definitely want to check that out. idpplus.com/membership. Don't forget promo code PROPS for 20% off. Also want to tell you about some of our other deals we got going on here. idpplus.com/FanDuel. $50 in bonus bets when you just deposit $10 over on FanDuel. Again, idpplus.com/FanDuel. And don't think we are discriminating here because we also got a deal with DraftKings. $50 in bonus bets when you deposit $50. idpplus.com/DraftKings. Don't worry if that was too fast. All those deals will be down in the show notes down below. All right, let's get back to it. Let's finish up with our final 3 bets of the NFL season here. Let's go. I started the show off talking about Jalen Hurts rushing. Let's go to the other quarterback and talk about his rushing numbers and Mr. Patrick Mahomes, Mr. Clutch. He just does it all in the big moment. Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to go with his 8+ rush attempts at plus 209 here. Patrick Mahomes is somebody who is a different player in the postseason compared to the regular season. In the regular season, he never went above 6 rushes. But these past 2 playoff games, he's hit his back-to-back season highs. So in the divisional round against the Texans, he had 7 rush attempts. And then in the AFC Championship game against Buffalo, he had 11 rush attempts. He's fully healthy on that ankle. He looks healthy. He's moving well. I think it's a situation where, yes, they're not going to get any tush push situations, but I do think we can potentially get some kneels downs here at half or to end the game when they're winning it out. He's just a willing runner in the big game. He seems to step up and understand that. Eagles pass rush with Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat coming off the edge there. They are a formidable pass rush. This is going to kind of force them to move the pocket. They did it last week against the Bills. It led to some easy rushes for Mahomes. And Philly loves man coverage. This Eagles defense loves man coverage. So you got the defensive backs turning their back from Patrick Mahomes. I think he's very savvy in pulling it down. I think he's going to hurt him with his legs there in this game. So give me his 8+ rush attempts at plus 209 there. This is one, like all of them, I do encourage you to shop around. If you really like this bet, they're over at Bet365. They have Patrick Mahomes 10+ rush attempts for 11-1, which I think is an absolutely crazy price. This 8+ rush attempts was over at DraftKings at plus 209. Some books are only doing the 5 and the 10, and then his normal line at 5.5, 6.5 there. But shop around a little bit, because if you really, really believe in this angle like I do, 10+ rush attempts at 11-1, I think is absolutely insane for Patrick Mahomes there. All right, we're going to give you, I can't get through the season without giving out a defensive play. Love defensive props. If you've never bet them before, they are an absolute ride. Look, it's the Super Bowl. You're going to want action on every angle of this game. And one market I particularly love is the sack market. And I'm going to the lesser-known Kansas City Chiefs defensive tackle in Tershawn Wharton, a guy who's absolutely came on the back half of the season, including the playoffs, so much so that he has a sack in 5 out of his last 7 games. He's recorded at least a half a sack. So I'm going to go with Tershawn Wharton over a quarter of a sack at plus 225 there. Look, this Eagles offensive line is a great unit, but their weakness is clearly the interior offense, the interior part of that offensive line. You've got Cam Jurgens dealing with a back injury. You've got Landon Dickerson, who's dealing with a fairly significant knee injury. And then you got Mekhi Becton, who has played much better, but is still a project there. He was a tackle that has moved into guard there. They have struggled with some blitz pickups. I expect Steve Spagnuolo, this defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, to bring plenty of blitzes. And let's be honest, he's got Chris Jones beside him. Chris Jones is going to take up a lot of action. If they're going to double team anybody, it's going to be Chris Jones. So that leaves Tershawn Wharton one-on-one with his guy. And I like him to be able to win like he's done all postseason and the back half of this regular season. So give me Tershawn Wharton over a quarter of a sack at plus 225. And then here's our long shot of the day. Of course, they've all been plus money, but this is where we really get a little bit juicy. And we're going to go with an interesting market here. We're going to go with the game leader in receiving yards. And we're not even going to go with a wide receiver. We're going to go with a tight end, and not the one you're thinking about. We're going to go with Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert to lead the game in receiving yards at plus 850. Over 8-1 on this bet here. Look, Dallas Goedert leads both these teams in receiving yards in the playoffs. Obviously, the Chiefs has only played 2 games, but the Eagles playing 3 games. He leads his team in receiving yards for the postseason by 67 yards. He's got 180 yards in the postseason here. Jalen Hurts clearly have a connection here. The Chiefs, I'm sure you've been told all week or for 2 weeks now, everybody's talking about Chiefs are really bad against the tight end. I understand a lot of people are leaning into this angle. That's why I'm going to play it in a little bit of a fun way here. I think Goddard, if he hits, he's going to be able to hit big. You have a situation where the Kansas City Chiefs, their cornerbacks are some of the strongest positions on the field there for them. So A.J. Brown, I think they're going to be able to somewhat limit him, and same with Devonta Smith. I do like the secondary there. The linebackers and the safeties for the Chiefs is where a little bit of the liability, the middle of the fields can be a problem. And I think Dallas Goedert is going to be the beneficiary here. And at 850 to 1, if we compare this to his ladder, for you to bet 100 plus yards, you're only going to get plus 630. So, this is over on DraftKings. I don't know if we have a 100-yard receiver in this game. I actually think the defenses are going to be able to kind of have their way a little bit with the passing games. I think these have both been two of the best secondaries in the league. And both these teams like to spread the ball around. I think if one guy is going to pop, I think it's going to be Dallas Goedert. I think, only 90, 80 yards could get them there in this game. So I love Dallas Goedert to lead the game in receiving yards at plus 850. All right, folks, that is the 6 bets, my 6 favorite bets for Super Bowl 59. We're going to do a quick recap of those bets, and then we're going to get on out of here. So we're starting off with Jalen Hurts, and we're starting off with him getting it going on the ground early and often, whether it's a tush push, a zone read, pulling it down while he's passing it. Give me Jalen Hurts over 9.5 rush attempts at plus 107. We're going back to reliable, of course, Kareem Hunt, anytime touchdown, plus 140. He's been a printing machine. Why stop now? Samaje Perine, 15-plus receiving yards at plus 188 out of the backfield there. Eagles linebacker is a bit of a liability in coverage. He's hit this in 6 out of his last 8 games. He is the clear third-round back. Give me Samaje Perine. He really only needs 1 or 2 catches to get it done. And then Patrick Mahomes, 8-plus rush attempts at plus 209 there. It's the Super Bowl. It's the big game. Patrick Mahomes will use his legs when he needs to, just like we saw last week with him having 11 rushes there. Tershawn Wharton, a guy who has slowly become a really, really good piece for this Chiefs defensive line. He's going to be the defensive tackle who benefits from Chris Jones getting that attention away. And I think the Eagles have a bit of a liability in their interior offensive line due to injury and just poor blitz pickup in kind of what we've seen all season. And then the long shot to lead the game in receiving yards, Dallas Goedert at plus 850. Chiefs bad against the tight end. Goedert leading both these teams in receiving for the postseason. I essentially just like him to continue to do what he's been doing at a juicy plus 850. All right, folks, that is a wrap for this NFL season. Good luck if you are tailing the bets. I hope you enjoyed the show. Look, new, IDP Plus bets. It's our first season, so obviously first season of this show. Appreciate you guys again for all the love, all the feedback. If you have any feedback, things you want to see, different next year, anything like that, definitely let me know. Definitely receptive to that. But hey, folks, for one last time this season, it's the DJ Doc signing off. Good luck on all your bets, and I will see y'all next year.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.